Hi, welcome to the lecture on data structures and algorithms. This is a demo lecture and I am your instructor Gautam Raikar. I have great amount of experience on GUI app development, then web development, Android app development. I've also worked on machine learning algorithms and for example using hidden Markov models and other sequential data models. Then neural networks also I have used. We have developed some applications. Then I've also worked on discrete control systems and Internet of Things applications also. So I have done my masters from IIT Bombay and I'm currently pursuing my PhD at Indian Institute of Science. So I wish to impart my experience through these lectures on computing and data structures and algorithms. So we'll start with the contents of this lecture. So basically we'll go through algorithms, what are algorithms and what are the features of algorithms, some basic algorithm we will just run through. Then data structures, how are they important? So any computer program will work on field of tables of data. So they'll work on the data and then try to give an output what is required. So their data structures come into play. Then we'll look into some interview questions, some common interview questions. Just at the questions right now because this is a short lecture. Then we'll also during the program have some fun programs and apps. We'll be learning these programs live. We'll be showing you the programming live either on Python or Java. So we'll write the data structures, make the algorithm, and then run the programs. And we'll also see them working on our phones. We'll try to make some nice Android applications. So, what are algorithms? So, the term algorithm is coming from the Arabic word, an Arabic word, and from that it has come down to English. And finally, in 1950, it was mostly associated with the Euclid's algorithm. And this is a very nice way to start learning algorithms because it's a very nice algorithm to understand. And then also it is used for finding the greatest common divisors. So when we were students, we had to do these find these greatest common dividers, right? So it was a big task for us. For me, at least, I would have wished there would have been a computer program to just give me the GCD output directly without going through all the steps one by one. So this algorithm was given by Euclid and it's a very beautiful kind of thing. So what you do is suppose you have two positive integers. So that is very important how you define the input first in the algorithm. So if you have two positive integers m and n, then you try to find what is the greatest common divisor which evenly divides m and n. So there's a beautiful algorithm for this. So first what you do, it's simple. You divide m by n. You divide m. Suppose you have two numbers here 1220 and 516. So you divide m by n and whatever remainder you get, you write it down. In the next step, if remainder is not 0, you check if remainder is 0. So here it is not 0. So you replace m by n and n by r. So this is m, this is n. So what you do, you replace n by m and R by N. So R you make it N and N you make it M. Then you continue the process till you get a 0. Once you get a 0, whatever you have in N is the greatest common divisor. So it's so simple. If you make a computer write it, do the task for you, it would have been so simple. Why did we have to go through all this structure and process in school? If we would have just learned the greatest Euclid's algorithm, it would have been great for us. So that is the first thing. This is the example of an algorithm. So it is a series of steps, like a recipe that you have to follow. Suppose you make some food item, suppose dal. There will be some kind of a recipe, right? You'll have some inputs. You'll have dal, then water, then haldi, all those things. And then you want to make your dal. So then the algorithm is the steps that you follow. First you'll wash the dal, then you will whatever. I'm not such a good cook, so you will just do the steps, and the output is finally the cooked dal which you have. So then there are some things. So why can't you call cooking as an algorithm? You're making food. So there are some features of an algorithm which has to be there to call it an algorithm. So that is first thing, it is should be finite. So it should not, it should have an end after some time. Then only we can call it an algorithm. If there is no end, like it's an infinite loop, it's a computational method. Basically, in terms of monitoring, etc., you'll put an infinite loop and you may do some computation. That is a computational method, but not an algorithm. Second thing is definiteness, and that is how you define your each and every line of your algorithm. So it should be proper, exact, and defined. So for that we have these computer languages which we have, and these computer languages or programming languages like C, Java, they define how your lines which you have written for the algorithm work. Then you have inputs and outputs, that is pretty clear. And then fifth thing is the effectiveness. Can this algorithm be done effectively by a human or a computer? If you sit down with a pen and paper, can you really do it by yourself? And is it effective in that manner? So if it can't be done by a human, like dividing 1 by 0, it can't be done by a human, right? You don't know what it is. So such things cannot be there in algorithms. So you'll get a error or a runtime error or whatever. So for an algorithm to be perfect, it should not stop in the middle. If an algorithm stops or runs for a long time and it hangs your computer, then it's not an algorithm. You have to go and check what is wrong in the algorithm. So debugging is a very important process also of learning, and we will see how you do it in different platforms like your Visual Studio or Eclipse or whatever. So then we have data structures. So what are data structures? For example, suppose you have a pack of cards. You want to represent it in terms of some in a computer program. So a card set has different features. So this is 2 of diamond. This is a 3 of spades. So you can represent it in terms of something, some numbers. So that is the suit of the card. Then tag is whether it is flipped or it is open. So flipped or open, it is tag. So here you can see 1 is for flipped and 0 is for open. Then you have the tag, the suit. So each number represents a suit. So whether it is diamond or spades or clubs, that will be 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you will have the rank, which is a number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, sorry, 2, 3, 4, 5, king, jack. all those things. And then you'll have next. So basic thing in a data structure is a pointer. So pointer determines what is the next thing in the list. So a data structure would be a list or a tree, something like that. So it's very important to have a pointer to the next item or your entity. And each, why do we have this pointer? Because we need to know from where the link or the data structure starts. So it's in the memory, right? So these are memory locations 100, 101, 386. So this is called as the pointer or the reference. It's the memory location basically. Because in a computer, you take data from the memory, put it in the ALU and do the operations. So you need the memory location also in the data structure. So that is what is called as the pointer. So this is a simple data structure. It is a list. So you have a top. So we have a list, right? This is like a list of cards or a deck of cards. So this is the bottom, this is the top, and this is the next. So this is how then you run your algorithm on your card. So for example, you have played your uh, solitaire or some game like that. That is the algorithm which works and makes it like a game. So you can have different things that you can do to a data structure, like gain access to the kth node or delete the node, like you remove a card from a deck or you put an extra card, or you make a determine how many cards are there. These are different algorithms that you will run on your data structure. So linear lists. So a list could be, you could have a list which is like a linear type. It could be stack, queue, or dequeue. So stack is, it's basically defines how you remove or put your items into your list. So if you can put items only through the top, it is a stack. Put or remove only from the top. If you can put or remove from end to end, it's like a queue. Then you have trees. So you may not have a simple linear list, right? You could have a tree kind of structure. So why is this important? This is important because while sorting or something like that, it becomes easy if you structure your data in such a manner, like a tree. So that's why you have different structures. If you just have a linear list, if you want to search any object, then it's very difficult. Or if you want to sort that, it is a bit of a tricky task. So these trees make it easier. So then the most important part is training you for the interviews that we have. So we will have, we will do some simple, and we will algorithms, and we'll check them also uh, on the computer. Like we'll run the program and actually check the output, not just run the go through lines of codes. So these are some questions which you can have. These are simple, but then it increases in complexity. Like some are dependent on mathematical principles. Many algorithms depend on the math behind it, right? How the algorithm is. That is the analysis of algorithms. How fast would they run? What is the um, complexity of the algorithm? So that is also something that we will go through. And then many things you will need some math involved in that. So we will go through the basic mathematical foundations also in this course. So this is a basic one example of a question that they ask, and it is basically, if you see, whether how you match the wildcard matching. So you match your string. So if you have a question mark, it can be anything, any kind of letter. So can you match this? No, B and A is not matching, so it is false. This gives an output false or true. if it is matching. Whereas if there is a star, it can be a pattern. So here you can see A, D, C, E, B, and then B star initially it could be nothing also. So you have A, B, between A and B you have D, C, E. So this other star is D, C, E. So that's why it is giving true. So you should be able to write the algorithm for such a kind of program. And this data here in this case is simple, it's just a string. But still strings, etc., string manipulation, string to integer is very, very important when you're doing your programming. So string manipulation, how you convert a string to integer or integer to float, and all those things are very important. So those are also algorithms, and they should be complexity should be quite good when you're implementing them, because you'll be using them very regularly. So finally in this course we'll have some fun programs and apps also. So we'll be developing the things on phone, on your platforms like Java or Python, or even your Microsoft Visual Studio will be doing stuff. Then some examples, I'll give you some demos of a digital control system also, just to, because digital control systems are like uh, very data or algorithms are written in the code, and then it controls your some variable which you want to uh, vary or control. So we'll see what these digital control systems are. Don't worry too much about it, it's very interesting, just a demo kind of thing I will be doing. Then machine learning also, some examples we will go through, and IoT, etc. Let us see how we can go through all that. So this is my small demo for you. Thank you for listening, and if you want to contact me, this is my email ID. So thank you and have a nice and safe time. Thank you.